With all respect to celebrating aviation, what does this flag and this majestic aviator have in common? You'll see in my Yeti art project. Hi, and welcome to Yeti at Large. This is a channel focused on making the most out of what you have, no matter where you're at. Thanks for tuning in and helping out. So we're going to do a little aviation art on Yeti at Large. This aluminum cast eagle hung by the front door of my parents' house for 60 years, and it's since come down. I'd like to do a realistic yet opaque style paint job and bring it to life. With the exception of the shield in the center and the eagle's claws, I'm going to do an Arizona flag recreation. One of my favorite parts about this eagle is that it's from Sexton Metalworks Raytown, Missouri, U.S.A. This is where my dad did his student teaching back in the 50s and the early 60s. That's a suburb of Kansas City. Our paints will be these CaliArt acrylic style with a very opaque palette. I'm going to use a little duplicate primer, and then we got some basic brushes. The copper portion of the Arizona flag is going to be one of these flattened pennies from a Route 66 vending machine, and I've got a star pattern to help me get them in the right shape. What can go wrong will. Still a half a can of paint in there, but apparently no more. Oh, there it is. Must have had a brief clog. I'm worried that the actuator is going to fail, so I'm going kind of AK-47 spray and pray MO just to make sure I get a good coat of primer. That's it. So we're on our way here, and I wanted to wait until I got a combination of dry and wet. I'm hoping to show by doing a gray background and doing heavy brush strokes, you can see that I'm going to get a little texture on the feathers. Now this isn't high art, and I'm using acrylic, so I'm hoping to have a little of a graphic artist's kind of tone to this. But I definitely want the brush strokes on the gray to bleed through a little bit to make a feather texture. I'm going to take a very fine fan brush. Nope, here. A very fine fan brush like this guy. And I'm going to put a little bit of dark, and I'm going to try to come in and just put the slightest amount of shadow on the inside of the feathers. And then I'm going to take even a lighter tip brush like this guy, and I'm going to try to put the slightest amount of white highlights on the upside. And what I'm trying to do is get the feathers to pop and get a little texture. But right now we are painting with burnt umber, and I might use raw umber for those shadow parts just to get a little texture. And we're going to keep plugging away. It's amazing. You don't realize how much nuance there is until you really try to get in around some of those tight areas. But again, we're plugging along. So here's our first coat of yellow. It's a hot mess if you can see that. We'll let it dry, get our second coat on, do our black talons, do our red, and then we'll see if we can't get some straight lines using a straight edge and a Sharpie or something to separate the red and the yellow nice and clean. Not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet. But the feathers dried real nice. Look at how they got good texture. There's a lot of bounce with the white on there right now. But we've got good coat of white. We'll put some shadowing in there when it dries. We're still waiting for the yellow to dry. We put our highlights on the tips of the feathers to get them to pop a little bit. And then we'll put some low lights in between. And then we got good texture on his head feathers, waiting for that to dry. Plugging along. Well, there is our eagle repainted using the Cal Art acrylic paints. And I have a variety of brushes here, but to be honest, I only used a fine tip and a chisel tip for the most part. Now, I didn't show a lot of the actual painting process. One, because it's boring, and two, I didn't want you to see how bad my hands shake now when I'm trying to concentrate. Last step is to insert our copper star right there to try to mimic the Arizona flag. I started by cutting the Route 66 penny into a star, but it just disappeared in the background. So I left the Williams, Arizona penny whole. Well, here she is. All said and done. Paint's dried. We got the penny attached. It's copper. I don't know if the glare makes it impossible to see, but that's a Williams, Arizona souvenir kind of penny. This is my take on the Arizona flag, even though it's upside down. I get that. The reason I chose Williams is because I've seen a lot of breeding pairs of bald eagles when I was on patrol, and it's a special place for me, so I thought I would throw it up there. This hung outside of my parents' house for all the years I can remember as a kid, so to have it and to take it to this level, it's kind of something special for me. And of course, the lovely pile of sticks. I'm going to clear coat it and hang it on the wall. The clear coat's necessary to protect it in case it's going to be an outdoor ornament, and this duplicolor has got strong UV protection. Speaking of UV protection, we've had a lot of snow, and the temperatures overnight have been in the single digits for the last several days. It's nice to have a little sunshine today, so I thought I'd let our eagle fly outdoors and see how it looks in the sunlight and get a feel for where this may wind up finding its new home. Heck, you never know. I might take it back to my mom's house and put it right back where I found it. I do love that high gloss, though, from the clear coat. The penny stands out, and it's a fair representation of an Arizona flag to me anyway. This is one majestic aviator. Love that feather texture. Worked out just like I wanted. Thank you so much for tuning in to Yeti at Large. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let's start a conversation.